qualified. We don't know what position they'll finish in, with Cape Town down there in third position ahead of FAP Cobra Sports and Espoir Fukash of the DRC. Well, it's going to be interesting because a Petro win will secure them second spot. They come up against Espoir Fukash looking for an important win. They got 2 games to play. Ambanza, Kazaza, Leza, Nganga, Rolly Fuller, and Emmanuel Esungu, the starting 5 for the team from the DRC. And my starting matchup here next to me is that man, Q. Quentin Denason, how are you?
I'm great today, thanks Robbie. Looking forward to this one. Petro de Luanda with a lot to prove and securing that second spot. Moreira, Dendau, Moraes, Gonçalves, and Gaku. Unchanged lineup and the preferred lineup for Coach Jose Neto at the starting 5.
And we're going to go across to Asha Komagisha, who is on the side of the court. How are you, Asha? You're feeling this one? There's going to be a lot of basketball, but high-octane basketball played here tonight.
Yes, definitely very excited about this game, and just to see what Coach Emmanuel Mavomo, who previously worked with the Angolan national team, will come up with on that technical bench for Espoir Fukash.
Yeah, he's working alongside Raven Mwimba, who you just saw on your screens there, a man who's trying to engineer some kind of a downfall of the giants of Angola, Petro de Luanda. They came very close against Zamalek in their last outing, very close indeed. They rattled the White Knights of Egypt in their own backyard, Q.
They did, and they did it in impressive fashion. The first team in the BAL-Africa League to score over 90 points against the White Knights, and they'll try to replicate some of that form here today.
Absolutely, it finished 92 points to 101. But to be honest with you, they were getting underneath and just, well, causing a few concerns for Will Voigt. Finally losing, but showing us what they're capable of doing, showing us they're not just here just to make up the numbers. This is a big clash for Espoir Fukash, and they will definitely need to try and get a win here. But they come up against Petro de Luanda. We know what they're capable of doing. We know what they've achieved in the past, and we know that they are giants of the continent, giants that will take a lot to topple.
They will apply pressure a lot defensively. They'll play through their guards, and they'll continue to shoot the ball from the three-point line, because that is the identity of this Angolan basketball club.
And there's the first foul. You can see it's been picked up by Emmanuel Esungu with Petro in. There it is, just getting tangled up there, weren't they, with Yannick Moreira.
Moreira's got to look out. He's got this habit of getting into foul trouble early, and the 5-second call comes because nice defensive pressure again, but Moreira's got to be careful. He picks up 2 fouls quite early in it, and it limits his minutes. He's only averaging 15.5 minutes for this Petro de Luanda squad.
Yannick Moreira was the player who, well, has come in. Johnny Pedro on the bench, of course, got a start in that game in their last outing, but didn't manage to keep his position. We see a big three-pointer coming in from outside. The rebound successful from Moraes, and a long-range shot coming in off the metal. It comes, and there is a foul, as you can see that Gaku gets knocked off his feet by that man, Emmanuel Esungu.
Well, already looking at the perimeter first, they play outside in to Petro de Luanda. They've shot 40 of 152 free throws in this competition, 26.3%. That puts them at 9th. And, you know, they put up more shots than anybody else. They want to increase that percentage a little bit. They're second in overall makes when you're taking all 12 teams into consideration. They're not going to change their style. They're just going to try and improve their percentage from the perimeter.
We were a little bit concerned about Petro de Luanda. You know, in the interview afterwards when they talked about it, I think Johnny Pedro said, we are a team of shooters. And they hadn't been shooting. They came on strong in the final quarter of their last outing, but still, they didn't provide us with what we're expecting, which is really a massive, it's a shower of three-pointers, isn't it, that comes down, that rains down on every team every time that they get out onto the court, something that we haven't seen so far.
But also in contrast, Robbie, they're 51.4% on the inside, puts them 3rd in the competition. So they execute internally, they take a lot of threes, but they also know how to score the ball inside.
They do indeed, and that was one of the tactics against Zamalek. Didn't come off as victorious, but You could see that Jose Neto, the Brazilian coach, had turned his tactics around and said, we're going to go straight through the middle. They didn't walk away with the victory, but it was a massive, thunderous occasion here at this wonderful stadium here in Cairo, the capital of Egypt, of course, land of the pharaohs, where dynasties have been built and created. There's a wonderful chance here to try and get some points on the scoreboards, and Espoir Fukash unable to get the points as Isungu tries to roll, spin, and get his shot off the boards. Picked up here, and Ambanza, the Canadian, going around the outside, and that's the attempt, and the rebound's not good. Second rebound attempt, third rebound attempt, finally it goes in. A lot of hard work to try and get the score. They finally got the points, first points of the game.
Love the hustle. Credit Espoir Fukash on that one, and maybe some poor defense from Petro.
Big shot coming in there from Abubakar Gaku. Oh, he's coming on big and strong, a starter on every occasion, of course, and it makes sense. Long-range shot coming in this time from Rolly Fuller. Rolly Fuller, really the three-point master against Zamalek, provided us with some big scores. I think he was on 5 three-pointers, 28 points, top scorer against Zamalek.
He came alive against Zamalek and was one of the key reasons that they amassed those 92 points.
And one of the key players here tonight is Asha, who's on the side of the court, and she will be able to tell us about the officials, Asha.
Yes, obviously today we have the crew chief Hortensia Carrizales from Mexico, who was among the first of 2 referees, non-English speaking, to make it to the NBA G-Link. She brings that experience to this game. There's also Mbaye Say from Senegal, a PhD candidate who's been doing an incredible job at this tournament, and Monica Nasuna from Uganda.
Massive shot coming in from Carlos Moraes from down near the baseline. A big score and a 7-point lead for Petro. Thank you so much, Asha. And they need to react. Espoir Fukash trying to go through the paint. It was a big, bullish kind of maneuver from Isungu, who's been asked to go in at full force, I get the impression.
Isungu spends a lot of time on the floor for Espoir Fukash. 23 minutes, he's the 2nd minute leader for them, and he does give them presence on the inside.
Dundao with a long-range triple attempt and a hustle, and they win back possession. But I think there's going to be a foul, and there's player down, which is not good, holding the back of his head, of course, as you can see, and it's Abubakar Gaku. And there's the Dundao shot that comes in. And look at the contacts. Accidental, I believe, from Chris Mpaka.
Yeah, it just comes down with the offhand and it's the side of the face of Gaku, but no ill intent, and he looks like he's good to go.
Absolutely. Here is Gonçalves, Jason Gonçalves going into the gets the pass out wide. Oh, he's solid, isn't he? That's a beautiful score there coming in from Gaku. MVP in the Angolan League in 2015, and really underlining his intentions tonight.
And he's been one of the main culprits of the poor three-point shooting, 15.8%, and he started hot here. Shooters have got to stay shooting.
Do indeed, Q. Now there's a traveling call there, and just a little mistake there from Fukash of the DRC, and they'll need to get some points from their offensive phases, which is something that they haven't managed to do so far. You can see the reaction from Raven Mawimba, who, as you mentioned, Usher, earlier, alongside Emmanuel Mavomo and Jires Bongubu. Well, it's good work, but the hook over the top doesn't fall for Moreira, and picks up Amanza, the Canadian, up against Dundao. It's a nice little battle, finds a little bit of space. That's a solid and beautiful score, isn't it, from that man Ambanza?
Well, very much needed. Looking off that high pick and found a little seam that he could extort 2 points from this stingy Petro defense.
Carlos Moraes foraging, seeking, gets the ball out wide. Here he is, Gonçalves for a three-pointer. Big score that was.
The three-point line seems to be functioning just fine for this Angolan giant team.
Gets knocked back, and they will get possession here. Petro, a little bit of pressure there, and it puts Fukash in a bit of a situation. Petro to Luanda with an 11-point lead, and it's timeout time, which means that we're going to take our first break, and we'll be back in a moment. Yes, welcome back to the Dr. Hassan Mustafa Sports Hall here in Cairo, and well, just after a little reaction, little timeout, 15 points to 4. Of course, there's a big margin, and Espoir Fukash in a bit of trouble. Just put you in the picture regarding what happens here, because we are into the last matches, of course, the last 3. Petro, if they win, they secure second place in the Nile Conference, and they will play AS Saleh of Morocco in the BAL playoffs in Kigali next month. If Petro lose, they go to 3-2, potential tie with Cape Town and FAP based on results. If Fukash win, 3-way tie with Cobra and FAP. If Fukash lose, then they will get eliminated. That's the scenario. And we'll go to Usher, because I think maybe she's picked up on something from the sideline, from the timeout.
Well, just listening in to Coach Raven, and he's talking about the importance of playing defense in this game, and they need to find ways of stopping Espoir. They've done well on that last possession. Let's see how they can be consistent.
Yeah, they do need to bring a halt to the offensive play, and they need to get possession. Dundao stealing the ball, doing it perfectly. Of course, it goes to Maurice. There's the long-range shot! Knocks down a massive three-pointer. And once again, the big sharpshooters are hitting their range cue.
That's three-pointer number 4 for this Petro team. And Carlos Moraes, leading the team in scoring in the tournament, continues with his hot hand.
Hot hand big time. There's a long-range shot coming in. This time it just comes off the metal, unable to drain it from Jack Kapongo. And another score, of course, as we see Moreira up the other end.
Well, we're seeing execution of the highest level right now, Robbie. This has been an offensive showcase so far by Petro.
I get the impression that they've cleared a bit of the air after their loss against Zamalek. They've battled to try and get themselves back on track, of course, beating FAP. Now they find themselves in that position with Fuller scoring Rolly Fuller scoring a fine mid-range two-pointer. They're getting themselves settled now. This is the Petro that we expected to see right from the start.
And also, looking at the game against Zamalek and Espoir Fukash, they'll not take their opponents lightly at all.
Well, especially after that fine performance against Zamalek, of course. And it really was a strong performance. That's a wonderful mid-range two-pointer there coming in from Emmanuel Okorafor, 17 years of age, from Nigeria, coming through the NBA Elevate program.
We always like to talk about the Elevate players.
Oh, yeah, we love it.
He is a standout for sure. 20 minutes a game is averaging 7.7 points, 9 rebounds, and is an impressive 69.2% on the inside. And we've got to look at that from that little shot that he made against a great defender in Moreira.
Oh, no, absolutely. And this is it. Well, there you can see that's the drop-in by Moreira. There's a long-range three-pointer coming in from that man, Moraes. Well, let's just look at Neto, the Brazilian. That's what he wants. The tactics are go from the outside in. And, you know, they can also provide us with some wonderful bombardments from outside. Rolly Fuller, the man, just dropping in and trying to replicate what he did in the game against Zamalek.
Well, if something was very clear from that Zamalek game is that they play with character. Wow, this is another 3.
This is incredible, isn't it? This is a 3-point masterclass, isn't it? Clinic, call it what you like. They're coming in big time. And the new Fortress Energy partnership is working an absolute treat, because we get trees now. We get loads of trees.
It's a plantation here. It looks like it's well structured.
It's a plantation. It is a plantation. And it'll turn into a wild forest that will go from west to east across this beautiful continent. And 100 million trees, that's the program, that's the project. If that's possible, honestly, that's brilliant. And it'll enable everybody and all of the animals and the flora and fauna to breathe properly. That's what we're after.
You called it the lungs on previous broadcasts, and I do think it is. It'll be a lung that is much needed in the world.
Absolutely, absolutely. Here we go, Fuller again. He's got his range sorted for the second straight successive game, 23-13. They're coming back. Espoir have got that fighting spirit. They should have allowed Petro to get away so early in the first quarter. Otherwise, you know, show that fighting spirit from the tip-off. Could be in a different scenario. Vander goes up for three, and his shot just comes off the metal.
Really great box out by the young Okorafor, making sure that they secure that one and done, and then the ball gets thrown away. It's a careless turnover. Robbie, careless.
Yeah, they can't afford to give possession away, and despite the fact that they've got what it takes to rattle the big boys in this Nile conference, they still got to be meticulous, as we see communication taking place, of course, between players and coaches, just to understand how they're going to try and find a strategy to beat and bring down Petro.
But just off the ball, it's Mwamba who gets called for the hold, and you can see it. He's trying to prevent clear path and the movement right there.
I think there's a dance called the tango in Argentina that looks quite similar.
Domingos not too happy, but he gets the foul call, and that's Petro basketball.
Here they go, ball back out, Vander gets rid of his defender inside, makes the pass into Johnny Petro, getting his first times on court, and the ball comes out, and well, it's an offensive foul that's been committed here. They get possession back. It's not even a foul, I don't think.
The pass comes out, and see if we can see what the referees called, and that looked like it was an offensive foul. I think they called a little push foul.
A little. Ah, there you go. It's 3 seconds in the key, of course, which was the call on Johnny Petro as they go up and try. Moreira going up for the layup this time, dropping it in, and a fine score again. Moreira showing us what he's capable of doing, and he moves up to 8 points. That's a very fine pass into the paint, coming outside. Oh, the bounce pass into the hands of Arsene Mawana, not controlled, not secured, not consolidated.
Well, nothing more frustrating for a coach when the ball doesn't go to hand on the intended pass. And that's the second time we've seen just lack of taking care of the possession of the basketball on a pass.
Not a great pass. There was a little bit of a concern there, confusion. Gonçalves, the pass goes up to Roy Fuller, and it's not exploited either.
3 times in a row we saw just a really poor passing from both teams, and they'll correct that. Just sometimes it happens. A little scrappy period of play.
I think you know, one of the things that that Raven Mawimba and Emmanuel Mavuma were talking about it against Zamalek. He said, "Don't panic, guys. Don't panic. You know, play your game. Be aggressive as you possibly can, but don't panic, you know? If they can keep a cool head and just work and focus, you know, they're capable of springing a surprise potentially."
We got a good look in at the character of this Espoir Fukash team against Zamalek. They went down as much as 20, fought their way back, went down 20 again, fought their way back.
Nuts.
So you know that they won't stop coming at you.
It's absolutely nuts, isn't it, if you think about it? Brilliant, brilliant. Strength of character, it really was. Vander unable to get his hands on the ball. It gets knocked out, but it's been knocked out by a Fukash player, Chris Mpaka.
Mpaka and Vander just battling for the ball. Vander in pretty good position. It looked like he actually did get that last touch, but Petro de Luanda will keep possession.
Last 37 seconds before the end of the first quarter. Vander just getting the ball into the hands of Gerson Domingos. And out wide, Moreira for another three. This time it just comes off the metal, and it's successfully rebounded. They're getting out there very quickly, aren't they? It's been taken, they're running out of space, and there is a foul. 2-3 players just suffocating that man, Jack Kapongo, over on that far side. Is it Moreira who picks up the foul?
No, I think it's on Gerson Domingos. And he picks up his first personal, just on the hold. Touch foul for Gerson Domingos on that, close to that sideline.
Yeah, just on his back, well spotted. Beautiful shot there from Arsene Mawana. Beautiful, beautiful score indeed. And that's his first points tonight.
Well, if there's something that we really picked up from that Zamalek game is that Espoir Fukash can light it up from the outside, and that's the shot that goes up to end up the quarter.
And it's not a bad way to finish the quarter, of course, getting a three-pointer through Arsene Mawana, the point guard, and getting it down underneath. 10 points, 25 points for Petro Luanda of Angola, 16 for Espoir Fukash of the DRC. Time for a small break. Yeah, welcome back to the Dr. Hassan Mustafa Sports Hall here in Cairo, Egypt, land of the pharaohs. Petro Luanda of Angola, 25. Espoir Fukash of the Democratic Republic of Congo, 16 as it stands. They get a three-pointer just before the end of the first quarter, and which puts them in a pretty good position. There's a 9-point lead, so still with lots of basketball to be played.
Plenty of basketball to be played in this high character Espoir Fukash team will not say die, and they'll try to find ways of just inching back into the lead and maybe get it back within 5 or 6 points.
A little bit of a hustle taking place there with Johnny Petro, and just having a little bit of a match-up with that man Chris Mpaka. And it'll give us the chance. There's a travelling call to. I know that Usher was listening in, spying on Coach Neto.
Well, yes, Coach Neto just quickly talking about how they have to consistently put more pressure on Espoir Fukash, be intense, and get back that ball and see how they can score and extend this lead that they have right now.
Yeah, that's exactly what they'll be trying to do. There's Vanna getting the ball out wide. He's trying to find his man, Domingos. Domingos down into the corner to Moreira. Moraes, a standout player so far. Johnny Pedro, oh, he out-muscles away. Lovely little spin using that body. Is what we are familiar with, Q.
A nice play just to change a little bit of their tactics up, and they allow Pedro a chance to work.
Vanda with the block and just getting in the way perfectly of Rolly Fuller, unable, just preventing him from getting his chance to score there. That's an attempted layup coming in from Moraes, but just doesn't sink.
Just slight in and out, but still a good read by Moraes.
Vanda just behind the back pass, beautifully done. Sensational stuff. Comes out to Correia, getting his first minutes, and the foul's been committed. 3 steals for either side of the court, and it will be. They'll get possession on the sideline at Petro.
It doesn't really matter what the score is. You just get the feeling that Espoir Fukash are always in the game and not too far away from either bringing themselves back or even just keeping the opposition on their toes.
Yeah, and you don't forget that this is a derby. The two countries are joined, of course. You know, if you go south of Kinshasa, just 12 hours by car or whatever, 780 kilometers, you arrive in Luanda. It just gives you an idea. So there's a lot of rivalry here between these two giant countries. In fact, the DRC is the second largest country in Africa after Algeria.
This is why I like you. You're so knowledgeable, especially when it comes to the geography of Africa.
No, it's important. The 11th largest in the world. There you go. I'm just going to throw that on top of the pile. The more the merrier, as we like to say. You know, inspirational stuff. And of course, the BAL-Africa League is really about, you know, a platform, a wonderful competition, but a platform for all of the youngsters who want to just get into basketball, and they'll see that anything's possible. And there's players who are coming over from the United States, they're coming over from Canada, they're coming from Europe. There's lots of opportunity, and that's how important it is to all of the youngsters who are watching, whether you're in South Africa, in Lesotho, Algeria, Central African Republic, or wherever. You have the chance to play basketball.
And you also have the chance to see a little bit more of the continent as a player. You get a chance to leave your borders, the borders of your country, and experience new cultures, all because of this wonderful game.
It's brilliant, it really is. That's nicely done. You know, with the coaches, out of all of the 12 coaches that we've actually got for the 12 teams, there are 10 different nationalities. Just to give you an idea. So, I mean, you know, it really is wonderful.
To coin a phrase, it's basketball without borders.
It's exactly that. It's not corny what you just said.
I know.
No, I know it's not corny. Vanda on the outside. It's a big shot coming off the medal, and it's been picked up and looked after by Emmanuel Okorafor. He's the Nigerian, the 17-year-old, who is, well, getting a big showing here in Egypt. Oh, look at Vanda with a ferocious swipe there, but the foul has been committed, of course, on Mpaka.
Well, they've been pretty good on the rebound, but also here we just get a chance to see that inside play. Mpaka gets a chance to go to the free throw line. Correa is going to get whistle for the foul. Picks up his first. It's the second team foul. And that stat came up a little bit earlier, Robbie. They're doing everything that they can. They're trying to control the boards. They've got a chance. We saw that play where they had 4 offensive rebounds. It just shows you that this team understands it. This is their tournament life. If they lose today, then they're effectively eliminated from the Basketball Africa League, or effectively eliminated from picking up that 4th spot.
It's exactly that, isn't it, Q? And they really need to fight valiantly, just like they did against Zamalek. That's the way that they managed to keep them close by. They just fought for everything. They battled valiantly. They were always going for their rebounds, and they always had options coming up because they knew they came up against a team that may have a little bit more depth off the bench. Beautiful pass, that is, but again, look how many defenders are back in position. You've got 3 players back in defense.
I tell you, that was a fantastic pass. Just floated it into the right space, and Correa got tangled up. He had no other option but to go up and hopefully draw the foul from the 2 defenders that were there.
Or it could have been an alley-oop.
With his jumping and leaping ability, it's definitely a possibility.
Here's, of course, the player from Cape Verde, of course, and, well, a country now that's showing us what they're capable of doing on the continental stage as well. In AfroBasket, they showed us what they were capable. I think we got to the semi-finals.
They did get to the semi-finals, and he was a key part of that team. You know, he got 19.7 minutes in the qualifiers alone, 8.6 points, 4.2 rebounds, and then played a little bit less in the actual AfroBasket, but 5 points, 4 rebounds, 1.8 assists for that successful Cabo Verde team, making a little bit of history for that outfit.
That's a big shot coming in, and a little tip in beautifully down there by Alunga. And Moana with a long-range shot. Oh, he's gone down quite heavily here, which is not good for Chris Mpaka. And it looks like they need to... Oh, it's a big score at the other end, and you can see that it was drained by Correa. So he showed off his leaping skills like a gazelle going up there. But let's have a look at Chris Mpaka, who's down on the ground. He's just got back up, but he's getting up gingerly.
Well, Mpaka went to ground, and I'm not certain what is going on entirely between Coach Jose Neto and Anderson Correa. The referee's just making sure that Mpaka is okay. Talked about his jumping and leaping ability. He gets off the ground, and like there's a trampoline underneath him. And that's the moment.
It was just accidental. Anderson Correa going behind Mpaka and just clicking his heel. He wasn't even looking, and it was pure accidental. So, but he's gone off Chris Mpaka, and he'll want to get a little bit of treatment on that, I think.
That could be just a clash of shins, a little bit of a contusion. We'll wait and see what the medical staff assess, and hopefully he'll be back in.
Yeah, hopefully he'll be absolutely fine. And another change, as you can see. This time it's Jack Kapongo who's gone off. Asha, just looking at the DRC, such an enormous country, producing some incredible athletes. If Fukash are really raising their game in the last couple of encounters, it's so good for the country to have a team from the DRC playing in this BAL Season 2.
Yes, indeed, Robbie. The DRC are the reigning African champions, which is the league organized by FIBA for players that play within the African continent, and that says so much about the quality that they have back home. And for them to come here and be part of the Season 2 of the BAL means so much for the players back home, not just in Kinshasa, in Lubumbashi, in Goma, in Bukavu, and all of the other sporting towns across the country.
Yeah, and it's enormous, when you look at the second largest city outside of Kinshasa in the DRC, it's Mbuji Mai, 2.5 million. Lubumbashi is exactly the same that you mentioned, Asha, 2.5 million. A very big metropolis. So, of course, you're going to get lots of top-quality athletes who are going to be coming out of the different these different cities. And the infrastructures, are getting better and better in certain areas around the DRC, which is great to see. Fukash a fine example. They've only been around since 2019.
Well, that's the great thing about this competition. We've got such young clubs establishing themselves and being able to leverage this BAL platform. It might foster some investment, it might just develop some players, but this is the primary reason that the Basketball Africa League exists, and that's to grow the game on the continent and create new heroes, African sporting heroes, for our own continent.
He needed to get the shot in, didn't he, Arsene Mawada? The opportunity to actually just slice down that deficit. Long-range shot coming in, defended really well. Sungu coming up, unchallenged, but they got another chance to try and reduce it down from 9 points, which was the difference going into the break after the first quarter. Mawada into the paint, goes out wide, lots of time and space. The shot's not good, but it's been made safe by this man, Bobonel. That was perfectly done from Isungu.
Dropped off beautifully, and Isungu was in the right at the right position, and it was really an easy two. That pass, the assist, credited.
Johnny Petro is just using what he's capable of doing, using that big body of his, and a lovely spin, a lovely layup. The branches reach out to the light, and the points are in the basket. Wano with a good three-point effort there, just coming off the front side of the rim, out wide, taken up court by Correa, and a long-range shot coming in, beautifully done. Gerson Domingos with a great three-pointer from out wide down to the baseline.
It's just how they make you play in transition. They move into position quickly and find the open shooters.
Well, just on his own, that was patiently done, but the attempt to try and get hold of possession, but they lose possession here, Fukash. A little bit disappointing for them.
Very rare that you'll see so much time and space for a shooter on the baseline. The missed shot, but it is a timeout.
Petro Rwanda 35, Espoir Fukash of the DRC 23. Small break, and we will be back here in Cairo. Welcome back to Egypt for this penultimate day of the Basketball Africa League. 35 points to 23. Petro de Luanda of Angola. Giants of African basketball up against Espoir Fukash. Debutants here in the BAL from the DRC. 35-23, but the fighting spirit never ceases to leave them for Espoir Fukash, showing us just what they're capable of doing. And here they need to continue battling very hard to try and keep themselves in arm's reach of Petro de Luanda, because that's what they did against Zamalek, and that's what we expect them to do. But they've got a bit of work to do. They've got to make sure that they use their possession to score points.
Yeah, they hopefully get some execution out of these timeouts. They're trying to manage the game in these 5-minute segments. They break them down to 2-minute segments, but you know, they got to keep with their strategy. They play outside in, and it's worked for them, and it's the way that they did so well against Zamalek.
Well, Johnny Petro, and there is a foul. He hit the ball, Narcisse Ambanza, the Canadian. If you watch this, comes in between. And look at that, that's the swipe coming in from over on that right side by Dundao.
So sometimes referees will have a neutral call, and they'll allow possession to stay with the offensive team, which is what I think happened there.
Yeah, exactly, because it was equally measured, if you like. Two offenses at the same time. Here he is once again, Isungu this time. You can see that the veteran Paulo just working his magic, getting in the way though, and committing the foul.
Well, this was anticipation. Paulo thought that man Isungu would be going up, and it did kind of go up, but the ball fake and the small jump enough to extract the foul, and there was aggressive defense from that veteran Lionel Paulo.
And Petro de Luanda with a few fouls, I think, Usher.
Yes, indeed. When you look at the setup of their defense, it's bound to happen.
14 fouls for Petro de Luanda, 3 for BC Espoir Fukash. And these are the points that they need to score. They need to just really...
If there's a guy that they're going to foul, Isungu's the guy. He's only shooting it at 16.7% from the free throw line for the tournament.
Yeah, that's quite low in the standards, but you can see that, well, they're on a mission, aren't they? But they really need to to get some more points up on the score. Petro de Luanda is so dangerous. Well, there you go. That's a good shot coming in. 35-24. Quick to get the ball back up and just, oh my word. And there he is, and it's Isungu.
Yeah, Isungu late. That was a good pass to Correa, who was on the baseline. No one covering him, and we know that he likes to get up, and there he was looking for at that BAL poster. Isungu comes across, does enough to distract the dunk, but he does make sure, or he does pick up the foul. He's a little bit angry, but you know, the contact came, his arm came across, and it was not legal defense. But you have to applaud the effort.
No, but he wants to get back, of course. You know, he just scored the free throw shots, and then he's getting back up to defend. But Petro very quick in transition, aren't they? But the moment that they actually get hold of the ball, they'll get it back up court immediately. That's how dangerous they are, and we've got to change. And we've got Emmanuel Okorafor coming back on. So again, they're just investing in the youngster, which is brilliant. It's great to see.
Well, he's earning his minutes every second of time on the court. He's been fantastic, and between him and Malkama and Maluash, I think they're the two outstanding players that we've seen in this conference.
In this conference, then afterwards we got the Senegalese player from Dakar University Club, Boubacar Sané. Wonderful layup. That was perfectly done, perfectly executed by Anderson Correia of Cape Verde. Back out, little cut inside and a chance to try and get the point. Bit of a nicely done, very nicely done. And Okorafor doing the business there with a beautiful score to make his tally 4 now.
He's just such a presence, and he's got a touch around the paint. He's a real prospect, is Okorafor.
Soft touch, Johnny Pedro takes the pass, but the foul has been committed. I think it's Ambanza. Oh, no, it's an offensive foul, sorry.
Correa attacking, getting by one defender, drives in, draws the contact, and he's so explosive. He's a slasher. Doesn't really like to catch and shoot. Doesn't like to shoot up off the dribble. He likes to attack the rim hard. Anderson Correia.
Ambanza, the Canadian, into the paint it goes, picked up. Bob O'Neill, ball comes out, and the long-range shot doesn't find its range on that occasion by Rolly Fuller.
Dendau forced to get the last touch again, under pressure from that young man, Okorafor.
Well, it's nicely done, but he's under a little bit of pressure and tightly marked by Moreira. Long-range shot, it's a beautiful one as well, coming in down the left-hand side from Ambanza, the Canadian.
They have a knack for making big shots when the game looks like it's going away, and they just make another one. Ambanza, great shot on that rebound and on that possession.
Hey, let's not forget that the top scorer for Petro against Zamalek, I think, was Dundao, wasn't it?
Yes, it sure was. He had 16 points in that one, and he's got the knack for just drawing fouls. That's what he does. You know, he uses his speed and his lack of size to extract fouls from anybody brave enough to step up and defend him. And he shoots it at 75% from that free throw line.
Perfectly executed the first free throw. Shot drained to take Petro de Luanda up to 40 points. And Dundao's first score tonight against Fukash. An 11-point lead. As we see Anderson Correia of Cape Verde just going to the bench.
And he's definitely been, Dendau has definitely been one of the players that has improved in this 2022 season for Petro. His numbers up from last year. He's up to 11 points, 3 assists, and three and a half steals. It's those 3.5 steals that, justify his place, I think, in the starting lineup.
Well, definitely lightning fast hands, pinching and as fast as a Cobra strike. Thierry Serge Darlin is the player who's come on, another 18-year-old from the NBA Elevate program. And, well, just look at that. That is the man who went up for that, but he, from Central African Republic, unable to drain. And two players from Fukash down on the ground, get support, back up on their feet, and they will get possession with both teams on 5 fouls, 5 team fouls now.
Again, it's that elevate player, right place, right time, and that could be just he has a knack and a feel for the game. Leonardo Paulo picks up his 3rd.
And Usher, you mentioned Emmanuel Mavomo and his important role within the BC Espoir Fukash team. They've really worked their magic and created something ever since that strong battle and fight against Zamalek.
Yes, absolutely. Since he joined the team that day against Zamalek, he's been able to give them that fighting spirit, and really it is a representation of the Congolese people who love to contest and be part of the conversation. Yes, Petro de Luanda have more experience and exposure than them, but tonight they're fighting. They'll leave everything on the floor.
Yeah, because he wasn't there for the first 2 games, of course, so just joining for Game 3 and Game 4 and Game 5, because they have another clash, Espoir Fukash up against Cape Town tomorrow, first of 2, as we see that foul.
Yeah, this was just great work by Moreira against the younger Okorafor, gets underneath him, and there's some lessons to be learned, and he says he's rocking the baby, but Okorafor picks up the foul. Now Moreira a chance at the free throw line, and this is the value. You know, sometimes you have to learn against the best in order to get better, and this is in real time, in real competition.
43-31, and about to extend that to 44, 117 left in the half. So that's quite a big lead. But honestly, when you look at Espoir Fukash and how they rally, you just think, well, even if they go 20 down, they could come back, and you know they're capable of doing that. We've seen that before. High shot coming up and comes off the metal, consolidated by Thierry Serge Dalin of the Central African Republic. Taking around the outside is Olimpio Cipriano, a player you know well, Q. You played against him. Look at that. That's a wonderful there. Look at that brilliant play. And the 18-year-old Dalan doing the business there. Big score for him.
A nice confidence booster, and that's also a pretty good read. Gets in between 2, goes up against 2 defenders, splits them, uses the rim, and finishes with the right hand.
Yeah, but just look at the players who he goes up between. He goes in between Rolly Fuller, extremely experienced player from Espoir Fukash, and here he is on the free throw line looking to extend that lead. And that tally to 3 doesn't happen though. Fuller picks the ball up and tries to go up, swatted away by who? No one else but that man Dalan.
Fantastic defense by Dalan. Now comes back, secures the possession for Petro. Let's see if they can get a score on this one.
Hey, do you know what? You get the chance to play for giants like Petro de Luanda, you know, as one of the elevate players. I mean, it's just incredible, isn't it? You will seize your opportunity. You'll go for it. You know, it's like getting drafted. Okay, yeah, I've just been drafted, you know, by the Warriors or whatever. You know, yeah, I'm gonna play the best basketball I can possibly play.
And you can see it's not lost on his teammates. They appreciate the hustle and the effort. And if he stays with that mindset and the not giving up mindset, he sets himself up well.
And here is the chance for Moreira to drain the points from the free throw line. Percentages are up. We've got 27 seconds left on the clock. Petro in a commanding position at the moment. And Jose Neto, the 51-year-old Brazilian coach, who in his second BAL, of course, he was the man at the helm of this Angolan team last year. There he is, a very experienced player. Coach, he's got good strategies. He's a studious coach who really knows basketball very well. Coached the Brazilian national team as well. Tundao goes up for a 3-pointer. And Dalan off the boards, look at that. and he extends his tally. This is pretty impressive, isn't it? He's got 4 points now and a chance to go to the free throw line.
Trying to make the most of his minutes. He's fired up. You can see the enthusiasm every time the ball goes up, and he's getting us involved too. It's great to see the young man just working hard and earning more and more game time. 4 points now, and a lot of it with good fundamental basketball principles. And at the core of that is just hustle.
Espoir Fukash just calling a timeout. They'll look at that scoreline and say, okay, 18 points down. It's not the first time it's happened in this BAL, but we need to gather the troops. We need to organize and try and find the right tactics to deal with Petro. Not easy, of course. They've got options outside. They've got options going through the paint, and now they've got an 18-year-old who's playing as if he's, the same age as Olimpio Cipriano, 39, who was 20 when he was born, by the way, just to put everything into perspective.
Well, what they really have to do is try and see if they can maximize off this free throw possession. They'll probably go late into the shot clock, or if not, just get the final shot of the quarter. And Coach Mumba and Emmanuel Mavomo, they know this well, especially Emmanuel Mavomo. He spent some time with the Angolan national team, so knows the players, knows the coaches, and he'll obviously lean on some of that experience. And one thing he will do is emphasize execution, especially just here out of this free throw attempt. If they miss, they'll have a strategy, and if it goes to the baseline, they'll have an additional strategy in place.
Espoir Fukash trailing 31-49. And Asha, do you have any news from us?
Yes, just a quick update from the Espoir Fukash technical bench, emphasizing on how they have to move that ball, swing it until they can have options to shoot or to drive to the basket.
Thank you very much, Asha. And we go back, and of course it's the 18-year-old Dalan who's going to go straight for the free throw line and a shot, and he extends his tally to 5 points now, which is pretty good. We still don't have a player in double figures here, and we're approaching the last few seconds of the half. Can they get a score? Dundao, 3 seconds left. He has to go for the shot. Shot goes up and it goes out of bounds, and that is the end of the first half. And it's an almighty scoreline for Petro de Luanda as Jose Neto looks up to the scoreboards. He'll be happy with that. 50 points for the Angolan Giants, Petro de Luanda, semi-finalist last year, and 31 for Espoir Fukash of the DRC. Time for a break. We will be back very soon. We are back here at the Dr. Hassan Mustafa Sports Hall. We're just in southeast of Cairo, so this is where Zamalek are playing, of course, in the BAL-Africa League, and this is where the Nile Conference is taking place. We can see Petro de Luanda and Espoir Fukash with a big conversation going on, but it's more so for the team from the DRC because they're trailing by 19, Espoir Fukash, and they've got to try and find something. They've got to dig deep and get themselves back into this to try and attack the third quarter in a big way. Q, what have they got to do? How do they do this?
Well, in simple language, they've got to start well, and it's got to start on the defensive end. They have allowed Petro to play some high execution basketball. They've got to take away some of the freedom, so a lot more high pressure. They might try a press, but they've also just got to, be in the right space at the right time. Thierry Darlan is 5 points, 2 rebounds, getting a run in, and he's also just he's benefiting from minutes, and you can see the hunger, and he's been in there making an impact for Petro.
Central African Republic, as we see a big three-point attempt going up. It doesn't get drained by Gaku, and at the other ends they're quick to get the ball back out, and a pass into the middle and out wide this time. Fuller just drops it in, and that will be a traveling call. Just couldn't find his way up, and did enough to block and stop Isungu from getting off the ground.
Great defensive work to stay vertical and not try and attempt to block entirely, just putting his hand up, and Isungu went straight into it and caused the travel.
And we're going to go across to Usher in a moment. when she's in position, and we'll talk to her as another attempt to just climb up and out from Isungu. And this time it is a foul that's been committed by Petro.
Looks like they're going to go inside, and second touch for Isungu inside the paint, off the structured play, and he gets a chance to go back to that free throw line where he has really struggled.
Yeah, he has, absolutely, Isungu. And there's Coach Neto having a little talk with our Mexican referee, Hortensia Sanchez Carrizales.
1 of 2 again for that man, Isungu, so better output, up to 18 points.
And Petro Luanda finding a little bit of space, getting the ball out wide. Here he is, Dallin again, looking to find a little bit of space. Look at that, very composed play, and he does draw the foul. This time it's Rolly Footer.
I like the patience on that play, you know, dribble penetration and understanding that there are shot blockers roaming around the rim, jump stop, gets the defender in the air and draws the foul.
And he goes straight to the free throw line once again. And just looking at his point tally, he's got 5 points, of course, 2 rebounds already. And you know, this means the world to him. These youngsters, you know, making their mark, they're learning so much. I would love to be in his shoes, because look around you. He's got players who are twice his age, you know, around him, as he just adds an extra point to his tally.
And what you can also see is that they're doing the right things at the NBA Academy, because he's in here adding value.
Dundao gets the pass out wide, and not a slick pass. And he kicks himself to a certain extent there, because Carlos Morey is unable to take the pass. Dundao just maybe a little bit too slick in his passing skills.
There was nothing right, just Morey just couldn't hold it for some reason, but the pass was there.
Lost possession once again for Fukash. Dropped into the hands and into the path of Dundao, Childa Dundao, 23 years of age, and playing like a real veteran, really. Another foul committed off the ball. 2 players getting tangled up, I think. We'll get the replay.
Ilunga gets called on the handoff. Ilunga here just trying to get by. And you see it there, just in the corner, just using his hand to get around the pick, and they call that.
Those tentacles when they get out, and they just stop everything, don't they? Well, a little bit of skullduggery there, and with a chance to try and long 3-pointer from downtown. It's a big shot coming off the metal. The rebound comes up, it's not been secured, and it gets knocked out of bounds. They will get possession back, though.
Well, if there's one area that Espoir Fukash have dominated Petro de Luanda, it's been on the glass. They've got 29 rebounds to the 15 of Petro de Luanda, and they'll be aware of that on the bench.
He's cutting inside, and a chance to try and find his path between the giant Angolan trees on that occasion. No way through.
And no way through. And just a little bit late was Gaku. 13 points. They've been able to get the second chance points, and that's been a big factor in them just staying in the game.
There is Ambanza trying to go for a 3-pointer. He just misses the target. Moreira gets dispossessed, and it looks like there has been contact there. They'll get possession back.
Again, it's Moraes. He's trying to push the tempo. He had no one in front of him, so free reign or free license to just keep attacking the defense, and Ilunga is going to get called for and whistled for the foul again.
And we're going to go to Usher, because I think that Usher will put people in the picture regarding the Sahara Conference and the 4 teams that qualified for Kigali for the BAL playoffs. We've obviously got 4 teams, and just for people to understand who will play against who, the top teams in the Sahara Conference and here in the Nile Conference.
Yes, thank you so much, Roby. Well, looking at Rwanda Energy Group from Rwanda, that East African nation, champions of the Sahara Conference, will play the 4th place team from the Nile Conference. Then you have US Monastir from Tunisia, who finished 2nd, Saleh from Morocco, who were 3rd, and Slack from Guinea. So the first team in the Sahara Conference will play against the 4th from here. The 2nd, which is US Monastir, will play the 3rd from here. And there is a chance that Petro de Luanda, if they can win tonight, they'll play against Espoir.
Yeah, exactly. If they do continue and just pour their fine form right through until the final buzzer, they'll take on Espoir because they'll be 2nd behind Zamalek, who we know have finished top. They're undefeated and well, they managed to beat Petro, which obviously meant that they're in a good place. They will play FAP in their final game to complete the Nile Conference tomorrow night at 11 p.m. local time. So logically, it'll be Zamalek, and if Petro finish, if they win this one, they'll be 2nd. And then afterwards, there's a bit of a battle taking place. The next clash that we've got here, FAP against Cobra Sport, will determine really who will finish in that 3rd or 4th position.
Yeah, it's going to be a crucial one because Cobra Sport, if they lose that one, that essentially eliminates them from progressing into that top 4 place. And literally the same for FAP. They've got to do or die.
Yes, they got to throw everything out on the court tonight in that final encounter here in Cairo. And FAP, of course, getting through to the quarterfinals in the first season of the BAL-Africa League, looking to try and beat Cobra Sport. Wonderful mid-range shot there from Fuller.
Fuller just really great on the baseline and so much comfort when he takes that shot uncontested.
And he's up to 9 points, top scorer for Fukash. And they get possession and they charge up court, and Manza gets the ball out. That's an attempt to try and drain that by Okorafor. Just off target, and at the other end, you see what happens when they go for the fast ball. Yannick Moreira with more points, and he's up to 12, and he draws the foul.
I thought Okorafor should have attacked the defender straight away, opted to try and go with the left hand, and that miss results in the transition on the opposite end and allows Moreira to pick up the ball in a space where to draw a foul and get the and one.
Yeah, Jack Kapongo picking up the foul on that occasion. And he will obviously go to the free throw line. Couple of changes taking place here with Thierry Serge Dalin back off, Justin Gonçalves, the 26-year-old coming back on.
A nice run out for Dala and 7 points. And he'd be very happy with that. I'm sure the Petro bench and the veteran players will be as well.
Yeah, he's thrown his hat in the ring in terms of making his mark, which is wonderful to see. Getting a chance to play for Giants of Angola here. Well, a little bit of a fall over there, and Fuller loses possession, and you can see that that's just an easy score for Gonçalves.
Maybe not so easy. He had Okorafor lurking, and yeah, you love the hustle and the mentality on the defensive end, but nice finish by Gonçalves.
60 points to 34. Mid-range 2, and it's beautifully executed by Okorafor. Redeems himself. Dundao. Moreira. Dundao for 3 points. It's a shot that comes up off the metal. And protectors of the Citadel are the 3 Fukash players. Good opportunity for 2 as Strongu does the business underneath the ring.
Again, from scoring, playing provider, this time Okorafor passes to Ishungu in space to pick up that easy 2 points.
And a couple of important scores there as well, Q.
Keeps them in the game. They're still not going away, and I think they'll continue to fight.
Here's Moreira out wide, and that's a beautiful bucket, isn't it? Yannick Moreira with a 3-pointer, and he makes increases his tally to 15.
Well, he plays about 15 minutes a game, and if he stays on the floor longer, he loves to give offensive production. He's a natural scorer.
What's Dundao going to do here? It's an easy layup for the Point guard, 2 more points to the tally. It's just quick transition. It's very complicated as we see Okorafor just dropping the ball there. Timeout, of course, 65 points for Petro de Luanda, 38 for Espoir Fukash of the DRC. We'll take a break and we'll be back in a moment. We are back here in the land of the Pharaohs. Yannick Moreira is the top scorer. 15 minutes, 15 points, 2 rebounds, and dominance, a dominant force. He's been the man of the moments. There is a beautiful 3-pointer coming in from the Moreira from out wide, drops in, and an exquisite score as we see Moraes going up for 3.
He can score in bunches, and that time, you know, knocking down, that was his first 3 of this entire conference, and you just see the confidence and his ability to score the ball for Petro.
They get possession back and they take the ball up court once again. Gonsalves is
called for the carry.
Yeah, that was the carry.
Danger time here for Espoir Fukash. They've turned the ball over 24 times. They really just have to control their possessions and make sure they get some shots up now, because too many turnovers on the offensive end.
That's a really good pass. That is just dropping the ball in the paint, but he couldn't do anything with that. Emmanuel Ishungu over to the other side. He's got lots of time. Moraes has his shot just come back out. Oh, but who's there to just polish it off? Good rebound from Yannick Moreira.
Everywhere. He is everywhere on the court, and that time chasing down the rebound and the hook shot for 2.
And we've had different players right across the board for Petro who've been standout players for each different game that they've actually played, which has been interesting. Long-range shot coming in. That is sumptuous. A brilliant score there from Emmanuel Okorafor. Big 3-pointer to take him into double figures.
They have 3 players averaging double figures, and Moraes has got 12.5 points, Dendao 11.3, and Gaku with his 10. Moreira just on the fringe with his 9.5 points a game as well. Pedro is 8.8 for them. They balance their scoring well.
And Moreira once again, this time doesn't fall. It's been picked up by Asen Moana. Jack Kapongo. It's a beautiful score. The triple goes in, high, dry, and in. And the layup coming in, and it just doesn't fall for that man. No. Moraes, sorry. 1:45 left of the 3rd quarter. Petro in a commanding position, but some little moments of magic coming from Espoir Fukash of the DRC.
They have to try and make some more inroads in this final 97 seconds. Got to get a couple of stops, see if they can get it back within 20, because we've seen their ability to come back.
And there's Fuller. Fuller's long-range shooting is quality, and he nails the 3, but I'm afraid that there's
step just out of bounds.
I think it was just a foot over the other side of the line, wasn't it? Over on that far side. Yeah, that was a traveling call finally. 67-41. No, I'm just a little bit concerned. Every single long-range shot is going in now. Gaston Domingos with a fine score. He's up to 7 points now. There could be a few players in double figures by the end of this encounter for Petro. That's guaranteed. Here's Asungu. Asungu tries to spin. Has the ball snatched out of his hands. Moraes goes up, and ball taken out of his hands as well.
They're not going to get back in the game like that. That's turnover number 27. Asungu tried to force against the bigger Petro, and a good defensive work. Credit the Petro defense, but maybe sharing the ball on the offensive end an option now for Fukash. Moraes gets in between 2 defenders and forces the foul. And it'll be a baseline inbounds.
Moraes, 3-point shot. Doesn't sink from Gonsalves. Taken up by Bobonel. Bobonel looks for his point guard, Asen Moana. Bobonel for the 3-pointer. Oh, it's a beautiful bucket there. And Bobonel showing us what he's capable of doing. And that's his first points of the game. Kasongo it was. Fukash, and 25 seconds remaining. Petro defending the fortress. Gonçalves with a layup, and every time it's quick transition, isn't it?
Quick transition of turnovers. They're turning those turnovers into points.
20 points in this quarter, and they're going to run out. Final shot, potentially, or not. Looks like the Petro will get a last chance shot. Oh, it just rattles and comes back out from Gerson Domingos. And look at that, 71 points. Petro de Luanda. And 44 points for BC Espoir. Fukash, we're going to take a break and we'll be back for the fourth quarter. Petro de Luanda on the cusp of making it 3 wins out of 4 as we take a look at what they've achieved out here today. Where you look at the 9-25, the 3-pointers have been going in 48% on the field goal, and that's pretty good. The assists have been working well. All of those stats point towards a pretty dominant performance compared to Espoir Fukash.
14 steals has got to stand out as well. They've done a fantastic job of dispossessing Espoir Fukash, and Fukash got to focus on controlling their possession, seeing that they can get value on each possession here in this fourth and final quarter.
Let's see how they get on. Kasongo tries to go in for a 3-pointer down in the corner. Vanda tidies things up. Ball goes out wide. Here they go again. Gonçalves drops it into the path of Petro. And a foul has been committed. This time it's Emmanuel Corafor, and I think that'll be foul trouble for him. It's number 4 for the Nigerian 17-year-old. Yeah. And he'll give us a chance just to go and go across to Usher, who I think was next to the Petro bench. Usher, did you pick up any news?
Yes, just listening to the coach Jose Neto saying they need to continue to spread the floor and get options from all angles and see that how they can increase the lead that they have right now.
And it's a very important period for them, of course, Petro de Luanda, in their transition to Kigali, isn't it, Q?
Well, they head back into their playoffs, their league playoffs. They want to secure their opportunity to play again in this Basketball Africa League, and that's going to be a big news for them. So they will focus in. They will continue to execute for sure. Okorafor's 4 fouls. He leads the team in scoring today, 11 points, and it just shows you what a great player he is for Espoir Fukash.
This is absolutely sublime for the Nigerian teenager. Vanda gets the ball back out. There's a chance to try and drop in for a big 3-pointer. It doesn't sink, and it's been tidied up there by Arsene Moana. Out wide, and Fuller out into the hands of Moana, back out, and the shot comes off the metal, and they'll get possession back with Moraes in possession. The hands go up there from Raven Mawimba. Guys, what are you doing there?
Looked a bit flat-footed and maybe should have taken the first shot in rhythm. And sometimes when you get it back, it's not the ideal opportunity to catch and shoot.
Yeah, a little bit of hesitation, wasn't it? You know, they're normally determined and they know exactly what they're going to do on that occasion. Just a little bit of hesitation. And Banza goes up, and Gerson Domingos goes up and unable to get the ball off the boards and in. Kasongo back to Moana. Kasongo has that down the left-hand side. It's a big 3-point effort there coming in from Kasongo. Again, the range is a little bit off. Out wide, and we know where this is going to go. Petro back out to Moraes. Moraes makes space, and it's a beautiful 3-pointer for that man Moraes, showing us his 3-point range now. Beautiful scoring there as he enters double figures.
Creating great space with that step-back dribble, had Okorafor in all sorts of trouble, and he's someone who knows how to consistently knock down threes. Carlos Moraes, the sharpshooter.
Fuller, 9 points so far, not into double figures. 28 points against Zamalek. That's a long-range shot that comes in, comes off the metal though. And they'll get possession back. Petro de Luanda
had to go. Shot clock was winding down. Still good recognition. Not sure you want the young teenager shooting from out there, but he was in the right place and had the ball in his hands. Just good recognition on the offensive end from him.
Vanda drops in for the mid-range two to extend their tally to 77 with, what, 7:15 left on the clock before the end of this encounter, as we see Narcisa Mbanza, formerly of the University of Winnipeg, just sat down mid-court. A good chance for, oh, it's a beautiful dunk there coming in from that man, Gerson Gonçalves.
He had a clear path to the lane, and the airplane was ready for takeoff as he got that jam in.
Moana gets the ball into the hands of Esungu. This time he drops in and it gets a couple of points to extend his tally to 8. Just one player in double figures for Fukash, and that's Okorafor, the NBA Elevate player.
It just also speaks to what great defense we've seen from Petro de Luanda. They've limited Fuller to just 9 points. Esungu, the other man, close to that double digits with 8.
And just look what he's doing. The 17-year-old just charging in, and he's valiantly throwing his body on the line to get his fingertips on that so that Vanda can't get himself into the paint. Brave stuff, showing great signs of a very complete player.
He's definitely one to keep an eye on.
Gonçalves sets it up for Petro. Well, there it is. The alley-oop finally drained in a big way. Petro loves those kind of passes.
He's got the length, he's got the athleticism, and Domingos had the vision.
He leapt up into the air like a gazelle, beautifully done. And there's another shot coming in from the Nigerian Okorafor, and that's a wonderful offensive rebound, and the drainage was sorted.
Morais looking for Petro. That's a connection that I think they're working on, or a connection that they continue to want to try and exploit. And talking about connection, here's the up and under, the alley-oop, the score. Gonçalves rather, throws up. And unfortunately for Okorafor, finds himself wrong place, wrong time. Petro puts 2 down.
And doesn't hang on the rim either, which will obviously get you a technical, which we've seen in the past. So a little bit less showboating, but pretty impressive to say the least. I haven't seen Usher do a couple of those moves just yet today, but yesterday, there's about 3 or 4, I think.
Well, I'm saving everything for Kigali.
We can't wait to see you. The acrobatics, beware.
That'll be worth the price, the admission price.
There is no doubt about that. We go to the free throw line, and you can see Esungu. Percentage down. We talked about his percentage from the free throw line. Hasn't been brilliant tonight. Well, ball falls into the hands of Mbanza, and up the other end, here we go. And it's an easy layup there for Jonathan Simbu.
Chimbao cherry-picking just a little bit, and leaked out. There was awareness, they got the easy 2 in transition.
Didn't get his range right on that occasion, Vanda. And that's a nice little move from Mbanza. Going across, and finally the shot doesn't get sunk by Simbao. Shimbao unable to do that. Vanda does at the other end. That's a pretty easy dunk, isn't it? Creating a nice reaction from the Petro bench.
It's just too easy on the offensive end for Petro. They're getting all the kind of looks they want.
Quick to look up and ready to make the pass is Johnny Petro. Johnny Petro! Well, he takes a little bit of the steam off finally, and just uses the soft touch rather than crashing into the basket, but still.
Another great example of just playing with energy consistently, Johnny Petro.
So you're doing well, but just a little bit too hard with the final touch. As Gonçalves takes it up the other side, lovely layup. Oh, he knocks over the cameraman, who I hope is okay.
Our cameraman have certainly been in the wars, and that time Gonçalves just carried on.
He's been there before. That's a beautiful shot, isn't it? Jonathan Shimbao. And there is the layup, and a little bit of contact. It takes off the force as he goes down. The cameraman is fine, I've been told. 87-57. We're going to take a break. 87 points to 57 is the scores here at the Dr. Hassan Mustafa Sports Hall in Cairo. This is the BAL-Africa League, and we are entering the last, 3 minutes 36 as Petro Luanda of Angola, well, they got a 30-point lead, and they're on the cusp of making it 3 wins from 4 with their final encounter. No, it's 4 wins from 5, sorry. Which will see them finish second and take on AS Saleh of Morocco in Kigali next month between the 20th and the 28th of May.
21st and
the 29th. Am I getting it right?
21st, 28th.
There you go. I'm getting the dates all wrong. Sorry, guys. I will get it sorted. 21st and the 28th. That week, we'll see the top 8 teams, 4 teams from the Sahara Conference, 4 teams from the Nile Conference here, battling it out. The playoffs are there. We're looking forward to it. It's going to be so exciting, you can't imagine it. Zamalek will go through as the top team here.
if they can win their game tomorrow night. Oh, they should still finish because of the
because they managed to beat Petro.
Yeah, they will go through as top.
And more points, 89-58.
Some really great execution again inside. Vander.
Yeah, Vander looking really slick, you know. He's played his role, isn't he, in this Petro team. Long-range triple. Beautiful score from Jonathan Shimbao.
He still gives great energy. You talk about Vander and that nice 3 make.
Wow, how about that? That was a beautiful bucket and scored from downtown out wide there from Gaston Domingos.
Domingos makes the 3, back to Vander, coming in as a 3rd option big or 2nd option big. He still gives them great value on the bench, and it just shows the depth of this Petro bench and how deep the team really is.
You know, we might not, I don't think we're going to get a player fouled out tonight, so you can see discipline has been pretty good between the 2 teams, knowing that Espoir Fukash are extremely physical, but they've held themselves back, and they've got every single player available, of course, as we go to the free throw line. And it's first one knocked down by Ambanza.
Well, Okoro, the only player in real danger of fouling out with his 4, but he's managed to stay on the floor, and that's great management so far by that young man.
Ambanza into double figures. You can see 10 points, 11 rebounds. So a double-double for the Canadian. Rwanda. Here is Lionel Paulo. Leaving Anderson Correia in possession. Back out to Domingos. Domingos, his shot comes off the backboard, but a little bit off target on that occasion. Shimbao, and finally, there's going to be a foul down in the corner. There was a little bit of contact from Correia, who's just getting in the way of that man, Carlos Bobo Kazongo.
Yeah, another a nice show of sportsmanship there, but the pass comes, Kasongo up, and maybe some contact just on the body on the landing. So a chance for him to go to the free throw line.
He's looking for the hand, but it was nice. 92-62. Just for all of you who are waiting for another little encounter, which is not little because it's massive. FAP of Cameroon up against Cobra Sport of South Sudan. Basically, the winner of that battle will see them slot into the top 4, the 4th position normally, 3rd or 4th positions. Anyway, it's winner takes all basically, isn't it?
It is winner take all. Cobra Sport, that's the do or die. They have to win this game if they want to be considered for that top 4 spot. FAP, same scenario. They have one more game against Zamalek tomorrow, but they want to win, and they want to pick up that much-needed win against Sport.
Hey, Darlin's on the cusp of making double figures. If he can get this pass here, then he's in a very good position to try and get himself double figures, which would make something. That's a great story in itself, isn't it? He'd be the first NBA Elevate player to, after Okorafor, to get into double figures. Or maybe Sané did in Dakar as well, I think.
What we've seen is just really great performances from these Elevate players, and that's the thing, is that they are standouts, and they show their value.
I got myself, I was ahead of myself, of course, you know, before actually thinking, no, we've actually seen that before. And Okorafor, of course, being on the other side and producing some wonderful basketball and getting himself 11 points. That in itself is a massive statement. And here they go, lots of time out wide. Shambao goes for a three. Off both sides of the rim, and then back out Darlan. Alley-oop, and the attempted little touch there to drop it in from Angelo Alexander, who's the 21-year-old Petro player.
Just too much loop on the pass, and he saw Alexandra on the baseline. Some players like it a little bit more direct, like the pass directly angled up, and that time the foul comes in from that young man.
Well, there's 24 seconds remaining, and here Darling goes up. He wants to get himself that pass out wide, and gets knocked out of bounds, so they'll get possession back.
You feel that Darlin's searching for that double-digit score. They may just go deep into the shot clock on this one.
Is Paolo trying to find his three-pointer? It doesn't happen. Last few seconds here, and a chance to get the ball out. Shimbao, and they're not even taking the shot. That's the end of this encounter. And Jose Neto with 4 wins from 5 to finish off Petro Luanda's campaign here. 94-64. Espoir Fukash, well, just unable to do anything. They come up against Cape Town in their final clash tomorrow, but they won't be able to proceed and go through to Kigali, unable to win their first game here in Cairo. Petro Luanda will take on AS Saleh. We know that in Kigali in the BAL playoffs. Congratulations to Jose Neto and the boys from Angola.
I think it's going to be an interesting matchup indeed, but as far as Petro de Luanda are concerned, it's job done. They could not pick up a win against the defending champions, but for them, they got 4 games with high-level execution, and it given them a clear understanding and gauge of where they are and what needs to be done. And as they start to ramp up their preparations for the BAL playoffs happening in Kigali, it's going to be hard work. That you know that they're going to go in deep into preparation, because country pride, club pride, and of course the long-standing tradition of winning at Petro will be on the line.
And they could potentially come up against Zamalek in the semi-finals in Kigali, so it makes for a very interesting little battle. If you note those dates, of course, the 21st until the 28th for the BAL playoffs, of course, they're going to take place, and it's going to be so exciting. Fireworks are guaranteed in Kigali, the Kigali Arena in Rwanda.
Well, there may be a nice moment here, because they are literally inviting the cameraman in front of camera.
This is a magical moment, isn't it? You know, and trying to take advantage, and he gets a little bit of a special appreciation from the Petro boys.
That's a beautiful moment.
They won't forget that for a long time. This is great. And we will catch up with Yannick Moreira, who is well, the top player here, and 17 points that he managed to score, and looking very strong out there. He's going to just go over and join us right now, so let's catch up with him.
All right, thank you, Robbie. Congratulations, Yannick. Today, 17 points for you. What does that mean for you that you won this game?
It means a lot. You know, coming here, we were trying to win all the games that we played. Fortunately, we lost one. We got 4. You know, that's big for us. You know, we go into the next phase. Now we got to go back home, finish the playoff in Angola, and then get ready for the next phase. It
was your first time playing at the BAL. What was your impression?
I like it so far. You know, the organization doing a great job. Everybody, you know, we all stand together. You get to see a lot of people that you haven't seen in years. I mean, I can see these BAL grow every year, so I hope it keep growing every year so we can get more players coming back and play for the home team.
You face AS Saleh, which is a repeat of a game that was played in Season 1. What do you think about this matchup?
I don't know, man. Right now, I'm just trying to go home. We got a playoff game coming up. We're just trying to focus on the first playoff game, and then once we get done with everything in Angola, now we can focus on the next game. So we can't really get ahead of ourselves. We got to go home, focus on this playoff, and then once it's time to get on the plane to go to Rwanda, we're going to be ready for it.
Just lastly, how much of preparation is it for the playoffs to be right now?
A lot. You know, everybody needs to be locked in. It's not going to be easy, you know, especially right now. Everybody's expecting us to go home and win everything, but it's not going to be easy. Everybody's ready. They're ready to see us play again. So we just got to stay focused, stay locked in, and be ready.
All right, congratulations, Parabesh, Yannick. Robbie, back to you.
Thanks very much, Asha. Yes, well, the interesting thing is that, you know, the playoffs are coming up, and they could come up against Primeira de Agosto, one of the other top Angolan teams. But just looking at Moreira wasn't a starting 5, was he, until this season? Of course, wasn't here last season. Comes in, replaces Johnny Petro, and doing a brilliant job.
17 points, yes, and he started the tournament a little bit later in the second game. Gonçalves 14, Moraes 11, Domingos 10. It just shows again that Petro spread the scoring. Ambanza 12, Okoro 4, a double-double again, 11 points, 10 rebounds as that young Elevate man continues to be impressive. Ishungu's 10 points and 8 rebounds. And for Espoir Fukash, let's back to the drawing board. They've definitely have some learnings. They've got a young team that they can build with, and who've now seen what the BAL is all about. Those 16 assists, 7 of 27 from the three-point line. Not the ideal execution down the stretch, but Petro will be a little bit happier with their shot percentage. They continue to shoot from that three-point line at high volume, but they will do that when we get into the playoffs in Kigali.
Espoir Fukash up against Cape Town tomorrow. That's the opening clash. Then Zamalek against FAP of Cameroon. But to be honest with you, Espoir Fukash fighting valiantly once again, showing us what they're capable of doing. A young team that were founded in 2019. Final score, Petro Luanda 94, Espoir Fukash 64. Coming up, FAP of Cameroon in a do-or-die situation against Cobra Sport. Winner takes all. Thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye.